Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on Lead. It's 10:45, and we're going to get started. A little change. I'm going to start things off a little bit, and then we'll head back into our typical agenda as we go forward. But I wanted to bring your attention to a couple of things specifically. First of all, looking outside and checking the radar. There's a little bit of moisture in the northwest part of the state, but largely it looks really good for this afternoon and on to the next couple of days. So certainly hope our students get an awful lot of chances to participate and compete and take advantage of some good weather here for a short stretch. And next week looks pretty good as well. So without question, the work that we do is incredibly important, and we get reminders of that, and so do you on a regular basis. A couple of events that I want to highlight, really kind of from two sides of this, are a legislative hearing that took place on Monday and our state speech meet, which took place last Friday and Saturday. I want to share a little bit of information about each. The first one is our legislative hearing that took place within the Senate Finance Committee. And hearings are called by the chairs of the committees when or if they decide to do so. And if they do that, they bring folks in to testify. And this one happened to be around youth sports participation. And a number of constituents were brought in, as well as Jan Malcolm from the Minnesota Department of Health. And I had the opportunity to testify on behalf of the Minnesota State High School League. Certainly some press followed that, but largely the concerns were around the guidance and the requirements relative to youth sports and restrictions that are in place and how that impacted some individuals or teams as we went through the fall and the winter. Concerns certainly were brought forward with that. Our testimony really related to a progression and a goal of being able to provide opportunities and at the same time having a responsibility to provide governance as well. And we echoed the concern about the loss of opportunities for students and know that when individuals or teams are on quarantine, that is incredibly challenging and it is felt by everyone. So again, our activities are very important. The work that you do is really important, and the State High School League's activities and athletics are really important, and we're reminded of that on a regular basis. The other one is a little bit of a different approach from what we typically do in LEAD, which is mostly sharing information verbally, but I think it's sometimes important that we keep our eyes on and have a chance to see what these experiences mean beyond that. You're going to see a short clip here this morning. And first of all, Cliff Janke is going to talk a little bit about a major thank you and gratitude to students in the speech season and what they've done to be able to get to this point. And you're going to see two examples of the award ceremony that's done virtually. And as we all do, our focus should be on the students and their response, because what will happen is they will be called out by place, and when their name is called, then they will exit and you'll see the screen eliminate picture after picture down to the final individuals, and it's kind of fun to watch and a great piece here. So Laura, if you're ready to go, I'll have you pull that up and we'll all take a listen to Cliff.
Very special thank you to you students. Your work and dedication to this activity is remarkable. You've worked through technical issues, wearing masks, keeping social distance, Zoom practices, competing from home or alone in a classroom, and things no one could have imagined over a year ago. And through it all, you kept working and excelling at your craft. You and your teammates are the heroes of this season. It is because of you that speech survived this year and will go forward in the future as strong as it has ever been in the past. A special thank you to all students who participated in speech this year. And now let us get to the reason we are all gathered here this afternoon, the results of the Class A state speech tournament. We will begin with creative expression. In 8th place, from Red Lake County, Mariah Peterson. In 7th place, from Walker, Caitlin DeLost. In 6th place, from New York Mills, John Ronnie. In 5th place, from Southridge, Quinn Firkolep. In 4th place, from Fillmore Central, Kaylee Arndt. In 3rd place, from Morris, Lucy Franzel. In 2nd place, from Browerville, Eagle Valley, Aiden Echo. And your champion in great speeches from Paynesville, Damian Christian. First interpretation. In 8th place, from Sauk Center, Sarah Campson. In 7th place, from Cannon Falls, Emma Watson. In 6th place, from Mounds Park Academy, Hannah Miller. In 5th place, from Piers, Jaren Gross. In 4th place, from Browerville, Eagle Valley, Arden Echo. In 3rd place, from Staples Motley, Caden Mrazek. In 2nd place, from Rockford High School, Raina Bowen. And your champion in humorous from Mounds Park Academy, Ryan Ghosh.
So with that, just wanted to share an experience and what it means to our students and their families and all involved to be a part of our tournaments, be part of our activities, and to be able to celebrate success with that. So again, thanks to all who did their part to be able to put that speech tournament on. That's quite an undertaking, and to do it virtually was very, very impressive. Bob, I'll turn it back to you for the typical agenda and moving us forward from there.
Great. Thank you very much, Eric, and recognizing Amy Doherty for her work with speech and our support staff as well to virtually need little assistance when it came to the speech tournament. So kudos to all those that we're able to see and the joys that we see within our state tournaments. In meeting with our liaisons this week, we have updates really on all of these, our spring sports guidance, where we're at, what has changed, what we might hope changed, but maybe hasn't as of yet. Postseason, COVID updates and acknowledgements, where we're at with district football. I'll give you a little more detail today, and we're getting close. Again, some updates on our websites, and we'll finish with our quick takes. At this time, let's jump into our next slide here, really around our latest guidance and spring sports. So we know what occurred, and it is updated around our participants and officials, even though that changed over the weekend, heading into this week as well. We weren't sure where that was going to land, but that is finalized. Coaches, really no changes. And again, we acknowledge the work that all of you have to do on a daily basis, really, in trying to manage what it looks like being outdoors, multiple different locations, venues, and the expectation around spectators. We continue to hear updates from CDC. If that does change what is occurring with the MDH and our guidance, know that we will communicate that to you as soon as possible. Also knowing that that is what we're hearing is the most difficult portion of managing the offerings that you currently are right now, or the occupancy and also spectators and what that looks like. Eric, anything I missed there? You're muted, Eric.
Yep, thanks. I think you're right on track with that, Bob. Those are the right points, and we're obviously waiting to hear if anything will change from the Department of Health and the state level.
Very good. If we could go on, we're finding May on our calendar here, which is hard to believe. We're over a year of dealing with a pandemic and without spring sports, and also more than a year with lead meetings here in April, as well as we say goodbye to April. As we look at postseason and start to think about what that looks like, I'm going to ask Laura to jump in here quickly as to where you will find some of this information. Know that much of it is still in work or in progress, while some of it has been determined. Things like dates, venues are continuing to be established with our spring sports. We'll have guidance around the formats, seating, modifications, event and facility management. And again, how might that differ from what we're currently doing with the regular season? So you will see that early next week. We're working on that as we speak in our office. And then state tournaments. What do those formats look like? Locations continue to be looked at as to what we can utilize and maybe what we can't for this year. Seabird Field for baseball would be a good example. That's a location that will not be able to be utilized for multiple reasons, most of them COVID related. And again, the dates that we have that are available, knowing that we have to deal with weather like you when it comes to those spring postseasons, including sections. All right. If nothing else there, let's continue to move on if we could.
just a note about where you'll find those documents on early next week. So just like we did in fall and winter, you'll see a document specific to each section tournament. So you'll see one for each sport. Those will be available in two places. Underneath that blue band on your dashboard for each of your sports, the sport-specific ones get put under there. And they get put under there because you and your coaches see all of the, for example, here, baseball-related information in one place. For your convenience, those are also put on that sports guidance information page. And that is that one page that has everything on it. So you'll see all of those documents in one place on that page. However, if you're guiding your coaches or you're looking for just one sport in specific, that blue band will also provide that same document to you. And again, those will come out early next week. You'll be notified in an update that they're there and available. And then they are available in two places for you and your coaches to find.
Great, thank you for that, Laura, and continue to find those on your website under other resources, along with your dashboard as well. So one other item here, along with postseason and regular season, we're still dealing with COVID, and we'll talk about that again with the multiple levels being impacted by quarantines or teams unable to play. Remember the document around an interrupted guidance and its application not only for the regular season, but also for postseason. So as we continue to look at this heading into this year's postseason, I believe that there will be minor changes, if any, around disruptions and or interruptions. We know what the cascading effect is when it comes to teams having to be quarantined or unable to play. So be aware of that document. If there are any changes, we will bring that to your attention as well. Speaking of COVID, Eric, heading into our next slide, I'm going to turn it over to you for updates.
Yes, and as we continue through the spring here, we are seeing some leveling off of where numbers are, and yet those numbers are still high relative to the history of this pandemic for our youth sports age and our high school age kids. And so that is still having effects. We've got a number of individuals who are facing quarantines and so on. It's impacting both what happens from learning models as well as sports and activity participation. Yet when talking to folks, what we're hearing is that because staffs are largely vaccinated in a lot of cases, that they are going to continue forward and push through in an in-person model for those students that are able to take part in that way. And I know that folks are equally dedicated to continuing forward with their sports and activities to the best extent possible with that. So know that that challenge continues to exist. Know that there's fatigue around that, and that is incredibly challenging. Yet, like Bob said, as we're approaching May here and perhaps the last 4 or 5 weeks of a school year, there's still work to be done. The vaccination side of things is now reaching our student-aged group of individuals, and we're starting to see more and more students get vaccinated. In our lead call, or our lead liaison call on Tuesday, a couple of individuals indicated that those vaccinations are even available on site, and that a number of students are taking advantage of that and are taking a look at, can I get my situation taken care of where I'm fully vaccinated prior to getting to playoffs or sections? And if so, when a student becomes fully vaccinated and is asymptomatic, they're no longer required to quarantine. They're required to monitor their situation and their symptoms, but they can continue forward even if they are in close contact. So a number of students are taking advantage of that. And that's an important piece for you to be aware of and work with your incident command team and local public health when or if close contacts do take place. We know that testing continues to be out there, and certainly the Department of Health and Department of Ed are supportive of increasing the amount of testing that's taking place. Again, liaisons indicated some schools there that are implementing testing across the board and also focusing on finding ways and schedules in which they can do the testing for students who are part of their activities. Again, the recommendation is every 2 weeks for every student and every week for those that are taking part in activities or athletics. And so just know that those things are important here in the last month and a half as we continue forward. And again, pay attention to that vaccination piece because that may be something that impacts students in your schools. Bob, I'll turn it back to you.
Great, Eric, and it is good to hear communities like Moorhead and Rochester in our liaison meetings, and really how students are taking advantage of the vaccinations and what that means for their continuation, not only to be in school, but also some play. So we look forward to those updates and hearing how communities are responding. District football placement continues to get questions, and remember, it's a little over 2 weeks ago that we finished a section placement process. The district football committee has met. They will meet hours 7 and 8 today. We will be done with recommendations for districts today. As stated in policy, those will go to AD's advisory on Monday for recommendations as well. We are going to try and expedite this through our executive committee from our board at the May 10th meeting. We should know that. I believe that's a morning meeting, and we will be meeting with our district football chairs that afternoon to get those schedules working and get sub-districts in place. And again, everything will be voted upon or approved at the board level on June 1st. But you should have a good idea what your schedules are looking like here at the end of May. So we continue to work towards that. Know that the process again is different because we did so in alignment with our competitive section placement process. But I will say this, the committee is doing great work and probably doing it faster than we did 2 years ago. So continue to look for those updates and we'll communicate as they become available. At this point, Laura, I believe we're going to turn it over to you on technology, our webpage, schedules, rosters, and/or results. Laura?
Thanks, Bob. As you know, about 3 weeks ago, schedules, rosters, and results started to sync from our schools into the State High School League website. Over the past few weeks, we've done some significant cleanup of big issues where reasons schools' information was not flowing from one to the other. At this point, they should be showing up. And if they are not, it is likely something in a configuration that is in your settings. Often it's the naming convention, the gender, or something else that's in your settings. We know that our Minnesota schools have used our schools for a number of years, and many of you are self-taught and have found ways to do those over the years. So if your schedules are not showing up right now, please work with our school support to get them there. That has generally been about 2 emails back and forth or a 5-minute conversation on chat to get there. On the left-hand side of your dashboard, placed there yesterday, is a handout called Schedules, Rosters, and Results, and that will walk you through this process step by step to get there. Our goal is to get all of those schedules up there this spring and start to have rosters and results no later than next fall. Many of you are already at that point. A reminder with rosters and results, that is really something for you to think about your school, your staff, et cetera, and what that workflow looks like. Those pieces can be managed in the AD's office, and in your AD office, you can be the one that keeps and maintains rosters and results, or those are pieces that you can hand off to coaches to have them maintain those. I'm really done so that we can represent and share things across the number of sizes of schools that we work with. For some of you, one of those paths is definitely better than the other, but wanted to provide you with both of those paths. That handout that you'll find, again, talks you through that. Step by step, has the information to contact our schools, has some video tutorials linked into it also. So please check that resource and continue to work on getting those schedules to show up and then moving into rosters and results. Again, if our schools does not provide you that support and you need to reach out, please let me know. But they have been very good to work with for everybody that has worked with them so far. I believe we're moving on to quick takes, and I believe Eric is starting us with these today.
Thanks, Laura. One thing I mentioned last time, and again, a good reminder for you, I know you've got busy days. CEUs for attendance at LEAD are now located on your AD dashboard, and I want to thank Laura for getting that located there and being available. Again, you can earn up to 10 hours, and you would simply provide your dates of attendance. We know that we've had more than 10 hours of lead, but that was what's been approved at this point. So you can find that form there, print that out, and put your information into it. And I want to give a special thank you to Lynn Johnson for her steadfast work in working with BOSA to get those approved, provide what they need to do the approvals and get that moved forward so that you can take advantage of that. Our Finance Advisory Committee was put in place and has been meeting now for nearly 2 months, and a number of meetings. A group of 10 individuals from large schools to small schools, publics and non-publics, charters and homeschools, all represented as part of what's going on in terms of trying to make determinations moving forward on things like membership dues, as well as refunds or credits into membership responsibility, and even practices in which we can use within the league to better stabilize where things are. Again, the financial goal is to create a more sustainable model that is not at the whims of tickets, et cetera, from tournaments and things like that, but can be more predictable moving forward. Would say that that group has worked exceptionally hard. There are some really good tools that have been provided specifically from a couple of members of the committee, and the dialogue continues about how do we do this, Ferris, knowing that we've got a great variety of schools, some that have lots of students in schools and participate in a few activities, some that don't have nearly as many students in their school, but participate in many, many activities. And we, like I said, we've got very small schools, we've got very large schools. And so it is a complex conversation that happens, and similar to many other committees, the answers aren't immediately clear, and it takes a lot of work to get through that, but making really good progress. And again, with a focus of adopting a preliminary budget in June, along with the established membership dues during that time. Summer is also coming, as we know, for all of our seasons that are already completed for the year. Folks are often thinking forward to the summer waiver period and the opportunity to work with their students during the summertime. Again, established the beginning of that as June 7th, a little bit of a pushback from the typical June 1 timeframe. And our league staff will again be looking at the most up-to-date information and providing what we can or what we believe should be appropriate for our schools to be able to employ within their summer programs if they're going to be hosting those things. So those will also be considered as we go forward. And as Bob said, our focus right now is on postseason for the spring and making sure we have that in place. Finally, and I think this one's a really important piece, is I thank folks on the front end for everything that we do. The pressures have been pretty incredible throughout the course of this year, and that's no surprise to anyone on this call. And again, what I continue to remind folks is the strength of this organization is the member schools and those that work within it. And your work and your support for one another has never been more important. We know that moves are happening on a daily basis in the spring here. Folks are taking different positions. We have some folks stepping away from positions. It's happening in the coaching ranks, certainly in the administrative ranks. Adjustments are happening, but just want to encourage you to continue to reach out to one another, provide that support, check in to see what needs they have, even just to see how they are doing and where and how you might be able to assist them. Again, many thanks to all of those folks who've served on committees, who have been part of lead liaisons, who attend here regularly and continue to support the work that we do. Together we are better, and certainly together we are stronger. And so appreciate all that all of you are doing to support one another and to keep this school year and our seasons continuing forward in the best possible way. Bob, I'll turn it back to you for the last couple thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Eric, for acknowledging that. An example of that is we have an AD who's also the baseball coach who's serving on a committee, and sounds like he's also going to be driving the bus due to quarantines and bus shortages. And we heard loud and clear on Tuesday from our liaisons, recognizing especially our smallest schools who has an AD maybe for an hour a day, or it's an extra assignment. And the concern there is for that position and what that looks like for the work that you've taken on and continue to take on this year in offering our program. Kudos to you. We need to continue to figure out how to best help you along with all of our schools. Otherwise, that is it for today. We will see you same time, same place on Thursday, May 6th. As Eric said earlier, take advantage of the weather today and let's get out and run or play. Thank you.